What's up, Broke Ass Nation? Today we're going to be working on this LS build that I'm doing for the 300ZX. So today we're going to be doing piston ring install and piston install. Alright, so first things first, we need to check our piston ring end gap. So I've got a ring down in here already. And the way I was told to do this easiest was get one of your pistons, put one of your old rings on the second groove, and then you use that to make sure that ring is flat down in there. Then you take your feeler gauges and you just see where it's at. And this one seems to be right about 0.016, which is in spec for these LS motors. So I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to do that for each cylinder, each ring, put them on their correct piston. So we'll see you in a minute. Alright, so I just went through and I checked my last one, which it's about 0.016. So I went through and all of them are within spec. So that's a good sign. Making sure none of the gaps are going to be too small, because then the rings can actually heat up and then touch each other, and it will cause problems inside the cylinder as the piston goes up and down. So we're all within spec. You know, we're not going to have any issues, hopefully. So let's get to putting them on. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start putting these piston rings on. Now, I did one already just to make sure I could do it. Had to get a little practice for you. So the first thing we're going to install, if I can get it, is the 3-piece oil ring at the bottom. Now, they said a good thing to do is to put it right in the center of the skirt. And this you can just wrap around. They said you want to try to have that in the center of the skirt, according to Summit Racing. Now you get one of your wipers, if I can try to not get two of them. These little suckers stick together pretty good. Alright. Maybe. Okay. Now you put your first wiper on the bottom. They said to put it about an inch to the right of where that spring oiler piece is. Alright, if I can get it worked down in there. Alright, make sure, give it a nice squeeze all the way around, make sure it's in there. Alright, then you take your top wiper. They said to put it about an inch to the left then. That way you got them all kind of staggered. Well, if you want to go in the right spot. There. Now just give it a good squeeze all the way around, make sure it's all in there. And then it should rotate. I don't know if you can see that. Should rotate nice and easily around like that. That means you did it right. If it don't rotate, you gotta redo it. Now for the second ring, you want to make sure it has a indicator on which is the top. Mine, I don't know if you can see that, it has a little dot. So that would be the top. So I'm going to stick it in this ring expander. And per the video I watched on Summit, they said you want to stagger these also. So I am going to put the end of it with the wrist pin. If I can get it in there, there we go. Alright. So that's on that side. So then I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to put the end gap on this side. Alright, now this one you can put in either way. It does not have any kind of indicators on it. So put it in my ring expander. Get it down in that groove. Maybe, come on. Get in there. There we go. And there we go. I'll try and do another one for you here. Hopefully I'll let you guys see it better if that wasn't very good. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, so once again, got our piston. We're going to get the center of one of the skirt sides. I really don't remember what this piece is called. It's part of the oiler. It's the springy looking one. So you're going to put that right in the middle. And just feed it around and give it a nice squeeze. Make sure it's all in there. Alright. See? Now, you're going to take one of your wipers, put it on the bottom. You're going to put it about an inch over to the right. Just feed it all the way down in there. Give it a good squeeze, make sure it's in there. Alright, there we have our bottom one in. Fuckers. I'll tell you, these little wiper rings stick together like a motherfucker. So, once again, we put that one on the bottom one on the right side. So we're going to put the top one about an inch to the left of that middle spring. So go ahead and just feed her down in there. Give her a good squeeze all the way around. And then once again, check to make sure. Look at that, nice and free floating, just like we want. I'm doing good, surprisingly. Alright, now moving on. We got this middle ring, or second ring, whatever you want to call it. It's got the dimple. Make sure that's facing up. We're going to put that into our expander. Then we're going to choose this side where the wrist pin is. And we're going to expand it. And work her down into that groove. Come on, get in there. There we go. Alright. Nice and easy. Then once again, we got our top ring. That can go in either way. But since we put the end gap on that side for that one, we're going to turn her around and put her on this side. So, same thing. Expand it, get it down into that groove. There we go. Look at that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, so I'll see you in a minute. Alright, now that we got all the piston rings installed, now we're ready to put the new rod cap bearings on. And then we're going to be installing the pistons and checking the clearances on the rod caps. So, you want to clean these up even though they're, new, come packaged. A little bit of brake cleaner and maybe like some newspaper, something that's not going to leave lint. So I'm going to get these cleaned up, then we're going to put them on. Alright, So I went ahead and cleaned the surface of the inside and the outside of each of the bearings. Used a little brake cleaner and some lint-free wiping device. I chose newspaper, but there's other things you could use. I also cleaned off the surface inside the rod. So then you're just going to want to line up your little notch there, if you can see it. Hopefully it didn't look like it focused, with the notches on your rod. And just pops right down in there. There you go. Easy enough. Now I went ahead and did the same thing, you know, wipe this off, wipe that off, and just line up those grooves, pop it down in there. Simple as that. You just want to make sure you try and get them flush with the sides. Alright, so now comes the fun part. So I did a little run through already. I got 1 and 2 in there, and my clearances are all good. So I'm going to be using this wrinkle band compressor. I'm not gonna lie, this thing's kind of shit. I don't like it, but it's what I have. Next time I will order a better one. Yeah. So let's try to figure this out. So first off, you want to take your piston, you want to oil up where the rings are and on the skirt. And give her a nice healthy dose. Use your fingers, get it all up on the skirts. Kind of dab it in with your fingers so you don't move the rings around too much. Just get it all nice and wet. Hopefully it'll slide in easy. Alright, once you do that, make sure your rings are all positioned good still. There we go. Now, if I can remember how to do this. So, you kind of gotta slap her on there like that. This thing's a pain in the ass. Do not recommend this. Okay, once you get it fitted all the way down on there, I would try to make sure that this part doesn't line up with any of the gaps in your rings. Try to make sure, see, I moved the rings quite a bit on that. Yeah, try to make sure when you put this on that you don't rotate your rings too much like I did. It's kind of hard not to, but alright, let's try this again. Alright, I'm going to kind of put my finger on the rings this time. Alright, well, it's down on there. Try and get it as even as you can. And then, oh shit, here we go. Tighten it up. Alright, hopefully that'll work. Now the next step is, this is piston 3 going down into cylinder 3. So then you want to kind of stick it down in here. And something I was told to kind of do, just give her a little tap to make sure it's flush against the cylinder, against the bore. And then we can kind of just tap her on in. Alright, she's in. Well, that worked better than the last time. Yeah. So, then you want to get under here. You want to make sure you guide the bottom of the rod down onto your crank. Alright, she's down. Yeah. I'm going to put the other one in off camera. And then I'm going to show you checking the rod clearances. Alright, so here's where things get kind of fun. So you want to take some plastic gauge and cut off a bit. If I can get it here. Shit. That's not where you go. Alright, so you want to get your piece of plastic gauge. You want to get it on there. I don't know if you can see that. You want to try and get it as in the middle of where that bearing is going to be as possible. Well, it looks pretty good to me. I don't know if you can see that on there. Then you're going to take your rod cap. Going to add a little bit of oil to the bolts just to help them thread in there. Nice thing about these is if you look at them, there's really no way you can screw up the orientation on them unless you just plain old don't pay attention. Because if you don't know, these are actually snapped rod caps, which means this all was one piece and they snapped them to make them, I don't know, I guess it's supposed to be better. Alright, got that down? Now, my first pass on these is going to be 15 foot-pounds of torque. Let me move this camera. Alright, I moved the camera. Let's see if that gives a little better angle. So, first pass, 15 foot-pounds of torque. Alright, now the second one is 85 degrees. Alright, so I ain't got no fancy degree tool because you have to go to 85 degrees for your second pass. So, yeah, I got my phone with a compass on here. This seems to work pretty good. It's definitely a pain in the ass, but you know, you do what you gotta do. So, let's see. Bad thing is, I gotta sit here and try and do math because I can't just zero it out. Do 115. Oh, shit. Alright, there's one. Move the stand a little bit there. Alright, next one's 125. Alright. All right, well, now that we got that done, we can take them back off. All right, one thing I did forget to mention is you want to make sure when you put that plastic gauge on there, after that you don't want to rotate any of this. So that'll give you a bad reading. So we're going to go ahead and take that one off. Get this one off. All right, and I'm sure you guys probably can't see that on there, but see that little green line? That's the plastic gauge. Now, gonna take a little thing they give you here to measure it. First one looks to be just a little bit bigger than 0.002, but not quite 0.0015. So that's right within our specs. LS specs are 0.009 to 0.025. We're going to try this other side here. Seems to be about the same thing. So that's good. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead, try to get this cleaned off the best I can. Honestly, I'm not going to get it all off. I've tried and tried and tried before, but the plastic gauge websites actually say that it's okay to leave it on there. They say it's desirable to get it off, but if you leave it on there, it's okay because it does dissolve in oil apparently. So I mean, that's straight from one of the plastic gauge websites. So I mean, if they say so, then I'm fine with it. But I will try to get that off the best I can. Then I'm going to lube everything up with some assembly lube right here. And then put it all back together. So I got that off there to the best of my abilities. So now I'm going to take some of this and slather it all over everything. We're not going to be shy with it. All this nice good assembly lube. Alright, I'm also going to oil up my bolts again, just to make sure. Alright, just want to take and get everything all nice and lubricated. Oh yeah, look at that. Woo. Yeehaw. Alright. Now, I'll put these caps back on. Oh yeah. Get that all nice lubricated. Definitely don't want this dry when you go to start it up for the first time. Or you're gonna, all your hard work's gonna be for nothing. Alright, so once again, we're gonna go to 15 on this first pass. I always like to go back over just to make sure. All right. Now we're going to get our handy dandy bullshit cell phone compass tool. And we're going to go 85 degrees. If I can do that much math. All right. Well, there's that. Well, and that's how you check and install the pistons on an LS motor. All right, well, there you have it, folks. That's how you put your piston rings on and install them and check your rod clearances on LS1. Now, I still got 4 more to put in here. I don't want to make this video super long and bore you with watching me probably struggle putting these in, because I'll be honest, this is my first build. So I'm learning. Everything I've told you and everything I've done is all from research. I would always research all your specs and everything before you go to do something. Luckily, everything I've done so far has been within my specs, which is great. You don't always get that lucky. But you should be able to do this after watching this video. I don't know what the next engine build video is going to be. I don't know what we're going to work on after this, but stay tuned, because there will be more. First, I got to put these 4 pistons in. So, till next time, keep off those jack stands and stay broke, folks. On behalf of all of us here at Broke Ass Motorsports Ohio, we'd like to thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed our video, please let us know by leaving a like or comment on our video. If you're new and would like to stay up to date on things, please subscribe or follow us on our social medias. The links to those will be in the description down below.